Welcome to my spoiler review of the 1983 video game Crystal Castles for the arcade. I am playing this through the Atari 50th anniversary celebration, and let's see, I already mentioned there's going to be no spoilers. The game is rated E for everyone, so this video B. And yeah, another game that I loved from this collection so far. It is all of them. So I think a good place to start is basically, you're playing, I think they refer to him as Bentley Bear, collecting, you know, yeah, collecting. And it is this isometric, yeah, I don't think that needs further expanding. Basically, it reminded me somewhat of like Pac-Man, and the just with more levels essentially, and the isometric thing. I will say, apparently originally this used trackball technology. I think that might have made for at least slightly smoother control, because the way it is today on keyboard, there were times where I wanted him to go left, but if I held down left, he would walk down instead. You get there, but it just the controls are slightly more finicky than, honestly, I think any other emulated game I've played so far. And yeah, so let's see. I think that more or less, yeah. Let's see. There is a yeah. I quite appreciated that at least some of the time the enemies move when you do, which means that you. I found myself standing and just trying to figure out, okay, the next time I move, they're gonna move. So I want to make sure that I'm moving in the ideal direction, because they do outnumber you. And basically, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm trying to avoid just repeating, because like so much of what is true here is also true of, once I said isometric Pac-Man, it's difficult to avoid just repeating what I said for Pac-Man. I guess I'll just briefly, yeah, I think the isometric thing really adds a lot to that. It does not feel like it is just, Pac-Man, but different characters, and that kind of, the difference between isometric from what's it called, like top-down 100% 2D view. And right, also, this is definitely one of the ones, I've said before. Oh, right. So if you want my general thoughts on like overall sort of arcade game, my Space Harrier 2 review, the first bit of that is where I go over that, so I don't restate it in all these videos. I just refer to that one. Yeah, in this one there were non-zero number of occasions where when I moved to go through the level, I could not actually see exactly where I was, because I was like behind something, and the enemies could see me just fine. So if you don't want a challenge, even if you like a lot of other emulated games, this might be one to skip. But that was how some games were back in the day. And I think that does more or less. Yeah, the graphics, obviously there are games from not terribly much later, at least, that do look better, that also have the isometric thing. It was very much a time of just figuring out what you could even do. I was impressed by it's not really an eyesore, even when it very easily could have been. Let's see, the audio, there is like a sense of danger, but also like this sort of friendly, like it sounds like, I mean, I'm not familiar with Bentley Bear. I don't know if that is a character that's appeared elsewhere in my research to sort of check right now, but certainly, like, if you told me that this was like the video game adaptation of some Saturday morning cartoon a la like Care Bears or Gummy Bears or something that I've never heard of, yeah, I think there's some chance that it's, it might not be, it might just be like in the vein of something like that, but certainly, yeah. And yeah, the music is perhaps especially where some of the tense audio comes from. And yeah, it is definitely quite challenging. You really have to, keep a close eye on the enemy, yeah. And their AI is also, I mean, I would not necessarily say, you know, I was not as impressed by the enemy AI here as I was with the original Pac-Man. But it's not, like, bad. Now, let's see. I did not run into any bugs or glitches. And, yeah, the sort of, the way the levels play out is nicely done. It's never less than engaging. And I think that might be it for this one. Not an awful lot to say. Now, I am just real quick going to recommend a YouTube video. So, yeah, I quite liked, so I suppose the following video is not necessarily E for everyone, but, a video of mine that is not rated E for everyone is pretty much always just one click away when you're watching any one of my videos here on YouTube. So I will recommend Matriarchetype's video, Why Brennan Mulligan Would Destroy the Manosphere. And yeah, with that, I rate this 7 hungry bears going up against innumerable foes out of 10.